Hey everybody, welcome to 9 Card TCG, and today we are going through the Battle Tower. And a lot of you, if you're, an experienced Pokemon player, you've probably gone through the Battle Tower, but you may not, or you may not have maxed out your Battle Tower rank. But doing so is pretty important if you want to be competitive, or you just want your Pokemon to be the best version of themselves. Before we get into the actual Battle Tower and the team that I have set up for it, I want to talk just very quickly how you get access to the Battle Tower. You do need to complete the main Sword and Shield storyline, so you need to become champion, but you do not have to own or do anything in the DLCs or any of the post games. So once you become champion, the Battle Tower becomes accessible and you can start doing this right away. Doing the Battle Tower, as I mentioned, is important because as you win, you get items like mints, which mints are things that can be used to change your Pokemon's nature. So if you have an otherwise great Pokemon, but it has a bad nature for the type that it is, you can change it using mints. So you get mints as you win, and you get battle points. You can use those battle points to buy more mints or different mints if you didn't get the one you like. And you can also use it to buy items that are really useful for competitive play. You can buy things like an assault vest, life orb, weakness policy, things that are just really common in competitive Pokemon video games. Or you can buy bottle caps if you have just a Pokemon you love with a hidden ability and it has the right nature, maybe whether you changed it or not, but it doesn't have the greatest stats. You can use bottle caps, something you can buy and you can find randomly, to hyper train your Pokemon once they get to level 11 to max out its IVs. How do you know if your Pokemon even need to have their IVs increased? How do you know? Well, there's a feature called the Judge feature in Pokemon Sword and Shield, but you can only view it after you get to rank 4. You have to come into the Pokeball tier in the Battle Tower. So you need to beat the game and go to the first few ranks of the Battle Tower, and then you'll get access to the Judge feature. Let me show you what the Judge feature looks like because it is incredibly helpful. If you go into your Pokemon box, one of the options is to view what your Pokemon looks like. You can just see it, and if you want to see its stats and moves, you can press the plus sign on your controller and it'll pull up all the stats and you can see what its ability is and what its moves are. But what you can't view just yet is the Judge function. So let's pretend that you go into the Battle Tower and you get through the first few ranks. Now you can press plus again and it'll show you what your IVs are. Keep in mind that IVs are not static numbers. I mean, they are static numbers, but you don't know exactly what that static number is. IVs are represented as a range, and in the game, it tells you using a word. So if you look at my Ninetales, it has HP, its IVs are best, which means it's the highest IVs, but it's a range. The attack is listed as pretty good, which is, as it says, pretty good. It's a lower IV range. However, as I mentioned, you can see on this Heliolisk, the special defense is listed as hyper trained, which means at one point the IVs were decent, I think they were, and I used a bottle cap. I leveled it up to 100, used a bottle cap, and trained up the special defense to be the max IV. So let's check out the team that I'm using. We're going to ignore IVs for now. We're going to pretend that you haven't done the Battle Tower yet, or at the very least you haven't gotten through rank 3 and you don't have the Judge feature. The team is set up to be competitive, which includes abilities, natures, and movesets, so some of these Pokemon might be a little hard to come by just because they have the hidden abilities, but you can trade for them, or you can do max raid battles to try to get the Pokemon with the hidden ability. The hardest one to come across is Charizard, but I was able to go onto the Pokemon Sword and Shield Discord and just say, hey, does anyone have a Charmander with the hidden abilities Solar Power? And I was able to trade for one pretty easily. I think within an hour or two, I had one in my hands. So not a problem. There are ways to do it. This team is built for doubles, which sounds weird, but I happen to like doubles a lot. I didn't really think I wouldn't, and going through all the different playthroughs that I've done historically, I never really cared for doubles, but it's because I think that I didn't have a very good team that was suitable or set up specifically for doubles. And now that I do, I love it. I went on a 30+ win streak in the Battle Tower with this team because it's just so easy. And let me show you, instead of me explaining, let me show you how I set it up and what I do. So I always start off with Ninetales and Heliolisk. Those are my two starters. They're my leads. The reason is because Ninetales has the ability Drought. Drought makes the sunlight harsh, and that's something that's important for not only the attacks, but the abilities of the other three Pokemon in my party. I also gave Ninetales a Heat Rock to extend the duration of Drought from 5 turns to 8. Just in case Ninetales gets knocked out pretty early, I still have several turns to go. In fact, aside from other weather changes, I haven't encountered or I haven't participated in a battle that lasted more than 8 turns. We gave Ninetales the moves Sunny Day, Burning Jealousy, Dark Pulse, and Psyshock. Sunny Day just because in case Ninetales gets switched out or another Pokemon uses a move that changes the weather, I want to be able to get the sun back because my team needs it. Burning Jealousy is a good fire move that, depending on if the opponent's Pokemon have any stat raises, will do more damage, and it hits both opposing Pokemon. And considering the nature of competitive play, Pokemon are going to be getting stat boosts pretty frequently, so Burning Jealousy is a good move to know. You can learn it from the move tutor in the Isle of Armor DLC. So if you don't have access to the Isle of Armor, you can't get this move, if I remember correctly. But you can replace it with Flamethrower or a different fire type move. Dark Pulse is just a good dark type move, and Psyshock, the one thing that this team really lacks is physical attacks. And Psyshock, while it uses the Pokemon's special attack, the special attack stat, it hits the opponent Pokemon as if they were getting hit with a physical attack. So we get a little bit of physical attack in there. I'm considering changing Dark Pulse to something else, but I haven't figured out exactly what yet, so for now, Dark Pulse it is. Moving on to Heliolisk. Heliolisk has the ability Solar Power. When the sunlight is harsh, it gets an increase to its special attack stat. However, after every turn, it takes a little bit of damage. I think it's like 1/16 of its health, so you do get some damage taken at the end of every turn. You're going to have self-imposed chip damage. With super effective moves, you should be one-hitting most Pokemon in one turn, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, sometimes you get the bulky ones, it might take 2, but that's not the point. We gave Heliolisk the Focus Sash because sometimes you'll get a Pokemon that you just start off and has a really bad matchup and you get hit with an Earthquake. Ninetales and Heliolisk both take damage from Earthquake, so not ideal. So we gave him the Focus Sash because we really want to use the move Electro Web, which is going to decrease both opponent Pokemon's speed stats. It's a move like Burning Jealousy, is going to hit both opponent Pokemon, decrease their speed. It doesn't do the most damage, but we're not looking for damage output, we are looking for decrease in speed. Volt Switch is another great move. You can find yourself in a really bad matchup, you can Volt Switch out of there and bring in Charizard or Venusaur. Surf is an interesting move. Obviously it works best if you have Venusaur because it's going to be not very effective. Ninetales, it's going to hit pretty hard, and Charizard, if the Charizard is Dynamax or Gigantamax, you can use this Surf because Charizard will have a weakness policy and you'll increase its special attack by 2 stages, but we'll get to that in a second. We also have the move Solar Beam on Heliolisk, and the reason why we have Solar Beam is because while the sunlight is harsh, Solar Beam only takes 1 turn, not 2, to do its attack, so you get a very strong grass type move in 1 turn, and it's really good in case you come across rock or ground types that could pose a threat to your Heliolisk or Ninetales. Next up is Charizard, who also has the ability Solar Power. We just mentioned what that was, and then we talked about the weakness policy. Getting hit with a super effective attack will increase the attack and special attack stats of this Pokemon, plus the special attack stat increase from the Solar Power. You're going to be hitting pretty hard with Charizard, and it is your main sweeper. We gave it the moves Hurricane, Dragon Pulse, Scorching Sands, and Flamethrower. Scorching Sands again comes from the move tutor in Isle of Armor. You'll have to it does cost, I think, 5 pieces of Armorite ore or something like that to learn the move. You can easily get those pieces from doing max raid den, so it's not too much of a problem. The reason why we gave Hurricane, you can swap for Air Slash if you want something with a little more accuracy, but we're really looking for when this Pokemon is Dynamax or Gigantamax, we're looking for the max Airstream to give you that extra boost of speed. Now, ideally, you would have hit your opponent's Pokemon with an Electro Web and decrease their speed stats, so you don't necessarily have to use Max Airstream to get a speed boost. You'll still have an advantage because they'll be -1 and you'll be neutral. But if they do something to boost their speed, they use their own Max Airstream or they use something else, now you have an option to boost your speed as well. Dragon Pulse, just for the abundance of dragon types, you want to be able to hit pretty hard with that. Scorching Sands, again, to counter something that could potentially harm our Heliolisk, or if you come across another fire type like Cinderace is really popular, other Charizards, actually not other Charizards because they're flying and they're immune to ground, but another Arcanine, another Torkoal, something like that, you have a ground type move on Charizard to deal with them. And of course, our Flamethrower, you could swap for something a little stronger if you want pure damage. I like the reliability of Flamethrower, but when Charizard is Gigantamax, you will be able to use the signature move G-Max Wild Flame, which is an incredibly powerful move, and for 3 turns against non-fire type Pokemon, both opponent Pokemon are going to be taking chip damage at the end of every turn, something that is incredibly helpful to deal with Pokemon who have their own Focus Sash or the ability Sturdy, so you don't have to waste a second turn or a second attack dealing with that Pokemon, because at the end of the turn you know they're going to fall to chip damage. And finally, we have our Venusaur with the hidden ability Chlorophyll, which in Harsh Sunlight boosts this Pokemon's speed. I can't tell you how fast Venusaur actually moves. Oftentimes it is the first Pokemon to go, which is incredible to me. We didn't put a ton of EVs into Venusaur's speed, and we'll talk about EVs at the end of this. For the most part, speed and special attack are what you're looking at. But you really want to maximize Venusaur's speed by giving it some speed EVs and having it in Harsh Sunlight. We gave it the move Solar Beam for the same reason that we gave Heliolisk, but now it gets stabbed, Sludge Bomb to deal with the abundance of Fairy-type Pokemons, and we gave it the move Weather Ball to help deal with other Ice types. Venusaur being weak to Ice, and there's quite a few of them with things like Alolan Ninetales and the Glass Dryer, Ghost Ice type, I think it is. Or it's whatever it is. It's an ice horse Pokemon from the Crown Tundra DLC. You will have under Harsh Sunlight a super effective move to deal with these ice types, and that's something that is super cool. Plus, we gave it Sunny Day. On the off chance that Ninetales gets knocked out early, I shouldn't say off chance, it doesn't have the greatest defense, but if Ninetales gets knocked out early and you need to be able to bring that sun back, you have Sunny Day on your Venusaur, so you can do that. An alternative to giving Venusaur Sunny Day is you can use Dynamax version of Charizard, not Gigantamax, and its Fire-type move will become Max Flare, which at the end of the turn will turn the Sunlight Harsh. So that is an option. It's not my favorite option. I prefer the chip damage of G-Max Wildfire. However, Venusaur also can Gigantamax, and its G-Max Vine Lash will do the same chip damage to both opposing Pokemon, so you can still get it, but remember you can only Dynamax one Pokemon per battle, so if you choose Charizard to Max Flare, you're not going to be able to get the G-Max Vine Lash, so it is a trade-off, which is why I gave it Sunny Day. Looking really quickly at our Pokemon's EVs and using the Day Skip glitch, you can very easily EV train all of your Pokemon in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how diverse their EV spreads have to be. And if you don't know how to do the Day Skip glitch, there are plenty of videos on it. When you go to check your Pokemon summary, you can hit when you're looking at your Pokemon stat summary, you can hit the X button on the controller to change views to look at their EVs. If you notice, you have the bright yellow stats, that's its normal base stats, and then you have the blue scale, or the blue icon, which is the EV stats, and you can increase the EV stats in pretty much any of the categories that you see, any of the 6. Different Pokemon, different EV spreads are used. You can look them up. For something like Ninetales, special attack and speed are the things you want to prioritize. I did mess up a little on this and give it a little too much special defense, but it is what it is. My Heliolisk has maxed out speed and special attack EVs. When an EV is maxed out, you'll see those little star icons next to it. I did give it a few in defense, I think, or special defense. I gave it like 4. If you don't want to do the day skip glitch for just 4 or 10 EVs, the feathers give 1 EV, and the supplements like carbos or protein give 10 EVs. So you can use those as well. Charizard, very similar to Ninetales, special attack and speed priorities. I did max out at speed. You want it to go first. You want it to hit quickly and hard. I did again mess up. I put Ninetales and Charizard in the same batch when I did this, so it has a little bit more special defense than I would like. And Venusaur, we are looking to mostly max out its special attack and its health. We want Venusaur to be kind of tanky, and we gave it a few, about 30 or so in speed, just to give it a little bit of edge when Chlorophyll is active. You can see with all the Pokemon, their Dynamax levels are fully maxed out. You can get Dynamax candies from doing max raids to increase their Dynamax levels, and that's the team. One very quick thing, I did forget to talk about the items that Charizard and Venusaur are holding. I know I mentioned that Charizard has the weakness policy, so when it gets hit with a super effective attack, then it's going to increase its attack and special attack. But Venusaur also is holding the Life Orb, so it increases Venusaur's special attack as well, but whenever you land an attack, the Life Orb is going to take health away. So you are going to be losing health every turn from 3 out of your 4 Pokemon. It's a little bit of a trade-off. You can use something like Max Overgrowth to make whatever the move is that turns the battlefield grassy, so that at the end of every turn you'll gain health back to kind of help offset the Solar Power and Life Orb decrease. But keep in mind that your opponent will also get that health back as well. And that's the team. I have gone 30 plus games in a row winning in the Battle Tower using doubles. Every single turn, or every single game rather, I would send out Ninetales to set up drought and Heliolisk to Electro Web or Volt switch, just to get out of there and switch to something else. In the Battle Tower, your opponent Pokemon will not Dynamax unless you are fighting Leon. He will Gigantamax his Charizard, so be careful about that. Have an electric, rock, or water type, water move, or something ready to go just in case. And if you're in a tough pinch, if you're gonna lose a battle, Dynamaxing or Gigantamaxing will turn the tides of that battle, and you don't really have to worry about your opponent doing it. Just try your best to time it right. So you can see, I'm only level 6. I'm not even out of the Pokeball tier in singles, but in doubles, I am maxed out with 37 victories, and like I said, 33 or 34 of those are consecutive victories. We do have Urshifu and Swampert in our team as well, but they are mainly for singles. Urshifu with its Gmax 1 blow, and Swampert having the move Flip Turn is real good for singles. So we'll just do a quick battle just to show you how this team works, and if we get into a tough spot, we got a Gigantamax, then no problem. Bronzong and Alcremie. Bronzong is a great Pokemon for us to start against just because it is weak to fire. Alcremie, whatever. So we set up that drought immediately. And we can go with the Burning Jealousy to handle the Bronzong, and we'll hit the Alcremie. So we're going to do that. And then Heliolisk is going to go with the Electro Web on both to decrease both their speeds. Heliolisk is going to go first a lot of the times. It's a very fast Pokemon, but it is a little fragile, and that's why we gave it the Focus Sash. You really want to be able to pull off at least one Electro Web to start the game. Burning Jealousy is going to do a good amount of damage, and it does have the chance to burn your opponent's Pokemon. Drain Punch, not a great thing to see, but we can, this next turn, hit it with a Solar Beam and Burning Jealousy, which should knock out the Alcremie. Stealth Rock, interesting move. The biggest thing you have to worry about with your team are status effects and also other weather teams. So here we get to see that Solar Beam. Normally, one turn to charge up, second turn to attack, but under Harsh Sunlight, we get to do both at once, which is so cool. 120 attack, 120 damage attack. And it's not going to do too much because you're not going to get the stab, but we are getting the special attack bonus. Bronzog down from the Burning Jealousy will probably get hit with another Drain Punch from Alcremie. Yep, there it is. And if that didn't take us out, then the Solar Power chip damage would. But now, depending on what our opponent sends out, we'll know what we're going to do. We are going to switch with Charizard, because like I said, it's our main sweeper, and we're likely to Gigantamax with it. Chandelure. So I want to get... Oh man, those pointed stones hurt real bad. So we are going to hit Chandelure with Dark Pulse because we don't really like it. And we're going to get rid of the Chandelure probably right away. I get so caught up in the middle, thinking of drowning in this blue. It wasn't the biggest threat the Alcremie is with its Drain Punch, but it's not going to be very effective on Charizard because of its flying type. So I'm not super worried about it. And you can see every turn at the end of the turn we are taking a little bit of damage. And a Cursula. So that's another thing we're going to be able to hit with Dark Pulse. It's a super effective move against Ghost. And we'll just Flamethrower this Alcremie. I'd like to go the match without Gigantamaxing just to show you that you can beat max ranked teams at the end of the battle tower without having to man, I have trouble speaking sometimes, without having to Gigantamax or Dynamax. It's gonna pull off the Curse. It's honestly gonna work in our favor. I'm sure it has a berry of some kind. Oh, leftovers. Not even. So it's gonna take out our Charizard because of the Solar Power. Oh, actually we already took Solar Power damage. So even if it did take out the Charizard, we still have Venusaur, and our Ninetales is gonna go first, and it will, and the Ninetales alone will kill it, but Charizard's Flamethrower should do the trick. And there you go, a really good competitive team. It relies heavily on the sun, so you do need to watch out for other teams that are going to switch up the weather on you. Sand teams are a major problem because not only are you weak to ground for the most part, but the constant switching of Sandstorm and Drought will be a tug of war for the battle, but that is why 2 of your 4 Pokemon are equipped with Grass-type moves, and you also have to worry about Rain Dance moves. Pokemon that use Rain, they're obviously going to be Water. 2 of your 4 Pokemon again are weak to Water, but you still have Solar Beams and an Electric type to help deal with the Water types. So, you know, things to be considered of. There's no such thing as a perfect team. You're always going to have weaknesses of some kind. There's always going to be some team that's set up specifically to beat yours, even if they didn't intend to, like, I'm going to make this team so that I can destroy all sun teams or all fire Pokemon. It could just be that they really like using sand, or Tyranitar is their favorite Pokemon. It doesn't really matter, just know that those teams do exist and you do need to have an answer for them. But again, in the battle tower, not really a problem because you have the advantage of Gigantamaxing or Dynamaxing and they don't. That's going to do it for us today. I hope you enjoyed. I know some of these Pokemon might not be the easiest to come across. Gigantamax, Charizard with the Solar Power ability, but I promise if you go on a Pokemon Discord or Reddit or something, I'm sure you can find someone who's willing to trade it for a reasonable cost. Same goes for the Heliolisk and the Venusaur. You can use the day skip glitch to go into max raid dens and find specifically the Pokemon you're looking for. So if you really want a Gigantamax, Venusaur, or Charizard, there's a very specific day skip glitch that you can do for max raid dens. It's a little bit different than if you're doing it for EV training or leveling up your Pokemon. But again, there are plenty of videos on YouTube, so definitely take advantage of it. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.